You've held a dollar bill 1,000 times, bought coffee with it, handed it to a cashier without a second glance, but flip it over, really look at the back, and there's something strange staring back at you. A pyramid, unfinished, floating in the air, and above it a single eye, wrapped in a triangle, glowing like it's watching you. Most people have seen this exact image their entire lives and have absolutely no idea what it actually means. And the explanations that do circulate, secret societies, hidden government messages, the Illuminati, are almost all wrong. The real story is stranger, older, and honestly, more interesting than the conspiracy. It starts in 1776. The same day America declared independence, the Continental Congress did something almost nobody remembers. They immediately formed a committee to design an official seal for the brand new country. Not a flag, a seal. The stamp used to make treaties and government documents official. They handed the job to three of the most famous names in American history: Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson. Here's the part that surprises people. Their first design was rejected. So was the second committee's. It took 3 separate committees and 6 full years before Congress finally approved a design in 1782. And even then, most of the ideas that made the final cut came from a Swiss-born artist named Pierre du Cimetière. A man almost nobody has heard of, brought in specifically because he understood heraldic symbols, the visual language of crests and seals. Du Cimetière is the one who proposed the eye. Not as a symbol of secrecy or surveillance, the opposite. In the language of the 1700s, an eye inside a triangle meant the eye of providence, a common religious symbol representing God watching over and protecting a nation. It was a hopeful image for a country that had just risked everything on a war it might easily have lost. The pyramid came with its own quiet symbolism, too. It's deliberately unfinished, missing its capstone, because the country itself was unfinished. 13 steps run up its side, matching the 13 original colonies, and carved into its base, in Roman numerals, is the number 1776. So where does the conspiracy come from? Mostly from one real fact people stretch much further than it actually goes. The only person on any of those design committees who happened to be a Freemason was Benjamin Franklin. And his specific design ideas were the ones that got rejected. The seal that actually became official wasn't a Masonic creation at all. Historians who've studied Freemasonry directly, along with Masonic organizations themselves, have repeatedly stated they had no role in creating it. But the seal sat quietly on official documents for over 150 years, essentially unknown to ordinary Americans, since it wasn't the kind of thing people saw day to day. Then in 1935, something changed. The Treasury Department redesigned American currency, and a new $1 bill design landed on President Franklin Roosevelt's desk for approval, featuring both sides of the Great Seal for the very first time on paper money. Roosevelt personally liked it enough to rearrange some of the elements himself before signing off. Here's where the conspiracy theory actually gets a little bit of real fuel, even if it's still misleading. Roosevelt himself genuinely was a Freemason. So when people notice a Mason approved putting an eye of providence onto the currency in the middle of the Great Depression, the coincidence feels significant. But the eye wasn't Roosevelt's idea, and it wasn't a Masonic addition. It was a 150-year-old piece of government art he simply chose to finally put to use at a moment when a message about providence and a new order of the ages, the actual translation of the Latin phrase above the pyramid, genuinely fit a country trying to rebuild itself. So here's the twist nobody expects. The most conspiracy-coded image in American currency isn't a secret code, a hidden message, or a symbol of hidden control. It's leftover 18th century government branding that took over a century to actually get used. Approved by a president who liked its optimism during one of the hardest periods in American history. The real story ends up being almost the opposite of the myth. Instead of a secret society hiding messages in plain sight, it's the story of an unused piece of national identity created by a mostly forgotten immigrant artist that finally found its purpose more than 150 years later. Not through conspiracy, but through simple, ordinary timing. Next time you pull a dollar bill out of your wallet, you'll actually know what you're looking at, which honestly puts you ahead of almost everyone else who's ever held one.